Hey guys,
Hey, Sandy.
how are you?
Good.
Hi,
Amy's on.
I see.
You,
Hi. Yeah,
Hi,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good.
I have to use my cell phone.
I know. Justin, or mostly said he probably would too.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, he's in a new home with no internet yet. So,
Wow.
yay.
So did you guys get the email link or did you get the invite through Hangouts?
I got the invite to the Hangouts. Of course, I was on Google. I already had Hangouts open, so.
Okay.
Then we got David. Hi,
Already.
David. Hi, David.
Hello. How are you
Hi.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good, good. I was on Google. How's the semester?
It's good. It's good. Everything has kicked off pretty well so far.
Good.
Got a good group of students.
Awesome. That's cool. How's the semester? That's a
It's
big
good.
lag.
Everything has kicked
Yeah.
off pretty well so far.
Good.
It's echo.
Awesome.
That's what it is. Dave, you need to put your headset in.
How's the semester? That's a big lag.
Everything has kicked off pretty well so far.
Also, Amy, do you have earbuds? Like Apple earbuds? You need to put your headset
Yeah,
in.
I'll have to go get
Yeah, get the Apple ones because they actually have a mic built into them. Also, Amy, do you have earbuds? Like Apple earbuds? Yeah, get the Apple ones because they actually have a mic built in. So Amy's phone just hit the floor.
It's great. It's great. Yay! Floor.
Get the Apple ones. They actually have a mic. So Amy's phone just hit
Nice. That's much better. Thank you.
There
Yes.
we go.
There you go.
We lost Amy.
Yeah, unless she has like a dog or a cat running through her house with her phone in the mouth.
Could be.
So Luann from Pickett County, she sent me an email address. I'm gonna try to send it to her again. I got to bounce back, so I'm gonna try to email her.
Can you tell I've never done this before?
You're doing great. We were laughing that when your phone hit the floor, though. We thought that was funny. All right, so let's see. Hopefully, it won't get bounced back. Yeah.
How about that?
Might also pop through on the app on my phone because I have it both. So.
Okay. Yeah, I send out like 3 different invites from different places.
Hey,
Matt,
Mosley.
you're not driving, are you?
My son is holding the phone. We just left the ball field.
Okay. As long as somebody's holding the phone.
Yes. So we're trying to get home quick.
Life sometimes does not stop for everything.
No,
So.
it does not. And once you have children, you realize that it gets more and more, time gets more and more precious. So.
It does definitely.
Okay, so the email that Luann sent me, it's not working. It's weird. Hmm. Anybody else join in?
Looks like just the
Just us.
just Dustin's.
Okay, Matt, Amy, Sandy, and Luann. That's who we're missing. Okay, I'm gonna try to reach out to her again.
Okay.
Look at her email address. So if you guys will, go ahead and kind of share about your experience with your device. Have you set it up yet? What's been the reaction? Amy, do you mind starting?
Well, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I took it to school. I brought it back home because I wasn't quite sure how this whole thing was going to work. But I have one engineering practicum student that's trying it out just a little bit. So he's learning SketchUp, and we're working on the floor plan, kind of like what I had. Of course, everybody's amazed. Health science is waiting to chomp on it, just to jump on it and get on those, Inside Those Bodies movies, and great movies out there for them. So I've shown it around. Everybody loves it. We're just trying to figure out, okay, there's one. What do we do with it? So right now I've got an engineering practicum student, which is my 4th level student, and he's the one learning the Google SketchUp now to start with.
Okay. When you say 4th level, what do you mean by that?
He's had computer drafting. He's had 3 levels, and right now he's in a waiting period. He's going to start working at TVA. That's down the hall, and that's going to be in first week or second week of September. So for now, he's doing his own project on the side. He's the only student in there with my 2nd level student. So this is his project.
Okay.
Big, starting with.
Now, Amy, have you had any issues with internet access to the Oculus store?
No, we really haven't got in. Let's see. No, I believe so.
And you said you've plugged it in at school?
Yeah, we plugged it in and got it going. Yeah, it was working.
Okay. Where are you at, Amy? You are at
Gibbs High School.
Gibbs. Okay.
Yeah. No, we had a hotspot.
Okay.
Yeah, I was using a hotspot.
Oh, well, that's the reason why. Are you using the school's Wi-Fi or your Wi-Fi?
No, I was using a separate hotspot. I forgot about that.
That's the reason why. Yeah. So one of the things that we talked about in the first group is that ENA is the internet provider for most Tennessee schools, and in ENA by default will blanket block Oculus. Mm-hmm. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to contact either your local IT representative in your school, or if that person is not willing to help or doesn't know how to help, you may want to contact your school system's IT person. And what they have to do is they have to call ENA, and it's literally a list that has all of the blocked websites, and all they have to do is, okay, which IP address, which MAC address, and then they'll assign it, and they'll say, okay, where it says no block Oculus Store, they're going to choose, they'll say yes, so you can have access to it. It's literally a phone call that your IT people have to make to ENA, but I'd imagine that your school probably uses ENA as well. I don't know if most schools that don't, and that's who provides internet access for school systems. So they'll have to unblock it from their level.
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing too is that if you can have it hardwired in, it's better. You're going to get a better result than wireless, just because wireless is not as fast, not as consistent.
Okay.
All right. Sandy, you want to go next?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I have not hooked it up yet. I have a special room that I was going to set up a lab in it to make it even more special, but I have had the students working with some of the software on the other computers. They're kind of playing around with it. They're also, and these are some of my advanced students also, I got the leadership class this semester, which means that those are students that have had um, a lot of the other programs already at school. They've had either 3 of me or 3 with Matt or something like that, and now they're working on some real world kind of projects.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to hit the ground running with some of those because there were actual deadlines on those.
Mm-hmm.
So we've kind of played around with that, but I have exposed them to it and talked to them about it, and they're all excited. So I'll have like 3 or 4 students in the next couple of weeks that will actually be able to get in there and start playing and building some things. They're actually working on something that Matt, was that Misty that had asked about having the Fulton Go kind of like okay, so our principal had asked about a Fulton Go app that we could introduce new teachers to the building and show them around. So this kind of works hand in hand with the project that we were going to work with, which was wayfinding graphics and creating
Mm-hmm.
them in a space. So they're already kind of working on that, so I'm letting them finish that up before we get actually deeper into the building. So they'll have a big project after, that's the project that they'll be working on in between other projects.
Right.
So
Right.
this is a good group of kids. But I'm hoping that by putting it in, I don't think I'll have any trouble, but we can get our IT people. They're really cool about making sure that we get everything up and running the right way because we are communications.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to kind of set it off into another kind of area to make it more important.
Mm-hmm.
To give it what it deserves. It's like, this is a really cool thing, and this is kind of one of those things that you do when you've gone through these other levels.
Right. Right.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I can see. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. That's the only thing that they'll run into though is if, like I said, they use ENA as their internet provider, which
Yeah.
yes, they probably will.
They
They're going
do.
to have to send a phone call to them to get that unblocked.
Matt, Matt, you hooked yours up. Do you have any trouble with that?
I have. The good news is I'm home for one, so no more out of my. I have set mine up. I set mine up at the end of the summer, so before school actually started, and I did notice that maybe for the first week or so of school that I couldn't get access to the store or to the like any of the online features were blocked. I could run the demo, and I could do a lot of the like the dream. What is it? The Dreamscape or whatever they call that, that shows all the.
Yes.
Yeah. The Dream Deck. Yeah.
You had already downloaded that, right?
Yeah, I already had, and I had everything obviously that I downloaded when we were at Tech at my house after I brought it home. But so like the first weeks, I wasn't able to access all the features. But then I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden now I'm all good. Everything's so.
Then they may have unblocked it.
Yeah,
I haven't tried it in a while.
Right, I can even get like online. Not that I've tried to play Valkyrie multiplayer, but you can get online and play multiplayer if you want to try that. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was really happy about that. But for the kids I showed it to. But basically, I set mine up at the end of the school year, at the end of the summer. Hold on a second.
I'll help Matt out here a little bit. Like I say, he just moved, so you didn't have internet access, right? So you wanted to bring
Right. We just moved like 3 weeks ago, and we don't have internet at the house yet, so I'm on my phone.
Yeah. Well, it actually sounds pretty good, so I'm pretty.
Yeah, that's why I was worried about it.
Yeah.
But all my features are open. Great. As far as introducing it, I've showed it to all of my Web 1 and my Web 2 kids. They've all actually had a chance to try the Dream Deck and all that kind of stuff. I started everybody with the Dream Deck just because that's a cool way to immerse them and to kind of show them what capabilities are. So they've all had the actual headset on, and the most fun part watching all the acting to the rooftop one especially, and a few other ones, but the T-Rex too. But I actually introduced Project to my Web 2 class. That's going to be one of their main classes here, and it's building on the same idea of what I did when we were in Cookville this summer, where they're the multi-tiered e-commerce based web project. So they're starting first with comping up a Photoshop 2D layout of what a one-item store would look like. So let's say they're selling a piece of clothing or whatever. They have to first come up with all the features that would need to be listed in that web page. Then they had to actually pump up a one-page Photoshop mock-up of that. Then, after that's complete and they've gone through that whole process, they will move on to build that actual HTML CSS so that it's a working, functioning one-page store. And then we'll take it one step further and say, okay, now that you've explored that, how can you revisualize that in a virtual environment? So what would it mean potentially to be able to market and sell this product in a virtual setting? So having them play with SketchUp and Unity, kind of visualize a layout of a store with the purpose of marketing a single product. So kind of tying it all back to e-commerce. But they've started the project and they've all had their hands on the, but we haven't gotten development of the actual software yet.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Good. That's great. I'm glad you got it. Yeah, at this point in when I set this virtual convening up, I didn't expect you guys to actually be head first into it and using it and that kind of stuff. I kind of completely understood where you guys are at as far as just introducing it and letting them kind of see where we're at as far as that goes. This convening is really just kind of designed to make sure that all the hardware is working properly, all the software is working properly, and to answer any type of questions you guys may have. So with that being said, do you have any hardware or software issues?
I don't. Mine's been great. It's worked well.
Pretty good. I mean, like I only tried with the Oculus Rift once at the school because it seemed like such a problem to get it started anyway. So I just didn't know that was me and the Wi-Fi and everything. So now that I'm understanding what it is, so we're more on to the SketchUp. So we're taking the baby steps back. So I'm hoping to get the Oculus going again.
That's perfectly fine. And yeah, they need to have a foundational skills in SketchUp before they really even kind of get into the final aspect of Rift. Yeah, it's good for them to see what the final product will look like. But you got to learn how to get to that point. So.
Right.
I'll probably start mine with. Oh, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
The battery backups. I know, Sandy, you're going to appreciate that too. I don't know what the deal is with Knox County, but we've lost power.
Oh yeah.
Started, and those battery backups have been awesome. I've got my whole amps plugged into it on my desk, and the nice things. So I've been appreciative of those.
Yeah, those battery backups are lifesavers, and they also condition power too. So they keep power surges and stuff from going through and affecting your hardware. So yeah.
Yeah, we've had that happen twice recently, so it's really taking its toll on my lab computers because they're not on battery backup.
Yeah.
I've got 21 computers that aren't, but I'll probably start my students, even though I've got that 2 or 3 that are also working on the project right now, which is on an app-based kind of, they're not really building much other than just trying to work it out. They're building all the graphics for it in Illustrator, so I'll start them with a good foundational piece on what are, just about wayfinding graphics, and they'll do some stuff that it's flat sketch first, and then go into Google SketchUp, and that's where we'll probably spend a good amount of time, and then we'll render it obviously out on the other system. So we'll see how it goes.
Now, all of you guys, are you guys all Google schools? You guys use Google as your back end?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so as you probably know, it's easier to transfer those files from SketchUp through Drive. You're not going to be able to email them.
Right. Exactly.
You have to use Drive as your I guess conduit as you would use. The program, of course, your machines have Unity and SketchUp on them. I would encourage you to, if your students have machines at home, to have them download the personal edition of Unity. I use the personal edition of Unity myself. There's really no difference between the personal edition and the professional edition. The personal edition, when you start up, you get made with personal edition as your splash screen. That's it. The professional edition has more professional stuff built in. Like if you're working in a big group of people who are designing together, it's got scratch disk and that you can use and those kinds of things. So it's more designed for a big Disney Pixar type of environment. so for you guys, I think the personal edition would be perfectly fine because that's what I use. It's just a personal edition, and then of course to get Google SketchUp, have your kids, if they have the machines at home that can download that, have them use Google SketchUp. Chromebooks won't run SketchUp. It will run Tinkercad. I don't know if you guys have played with Tinkercad any at all. It's a Java-based program. It's all done within the browser. It may be something you guys want to look into, especially if your kids aren't familiar with 3D modeling and design. Tinkercad is really kind of designed for that middle school area. So if you've got some, maybe working with some kids, or if you maybe have some lower kids, you may want to get them started off in that. Because Tinkercad does export out to a file format that Unity will actually use. And the nice thing about Tinkercad is that there's a lot of those shapes are already designed for them. So I don't know what your class situation looks like, but if you are differentiating in your class, you may want to, have Tinkercad for those students who may not be able to grasp SketchUp.
How many different Unities are there? You said Unity Personal and Unity Professional. Did you say there was another one?
That's the only two that I know of. I mean, there may be another one. The only two, I just use Unity Personal Edition.
And then the SketchUp, I noticed mine's going to run out in like 300 days, and it's such a pain to get everything installed on all these 20 computers.
Right.
Should I just go with the same SketchUp that we had, the way we, downloaded it, or I see that it's like $600 for...
Yeah. So here's the thing. So when you get into schools and you get into licensing, like a school is different than a personal edition. So like, technically you're not supposed to run personal edition of Google SketchUp in your school lab. That's a violation of copyright law.
Right.
License agreement.
Get it approved to purchase SketchUp. I'm just wondering if you've seen a cheaper. I mean, I'm wondering what price is when you get 100 software license or whatever we're talking about throughout the schools.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I would recommend, Amy, is for you to maybe reach out to them through their email. They've got people that you can work with and say, hey, look, I'm in a low-income area. I'm wanting to get some personal editions for an internal lab, and a lot of these companies, what they'll do is they have actual, they have in-house grants that you can actually apply for, but you don't know about them until you call them or contact them. And what they'll ask for you to do is then, record your use of it, do some, record some information. I mean, there's going to be some stuff that you're going to have to do on your end to get access to these, but a lot of these programs actually have internal grants that you can apply for as well. So what they like to do is I know a lot of them will say, okay, for you to get this internal SketchUp, you have to submit 10 lesson plans that meet this criteria because they want to get something back from you. It doesn't hurt to contact them and reach out. But yeah, technically as a school system, they're supposed to have a license for it. Now, if a kid has a laptop and they bring their laptop to school and they've got SketchUp on it, that's okay. But as a lab, you're going to have a lab license for it. So yeah, and you don't want to get into the situation where you're running personal edition on lab machines because then if you guys were to get caught, you can get in some trouble, some fines.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah, that's not something you want to get into. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just like I said, I just got the one student trying it on this computer.
Right.
I'm planning on taking it to the nursing home, so I've got this cart set up that's easy to put it in the cart and take it with me.
Oh wow, great!
So try it. Yeah, so I'm hoping next Wednesday, to try that out. So I'll get back with you on that and take some videos and and if this first young gentleman likes it, then start looking at the ones, not the cardboard, but the next step up, the Samsung.
Oh, the Gear VR.
Yeah, talk to his family about purchasing that for him.
Yeah,
so
you can actually get that through Verizon now. The Verizon was running a sale where you could buy like a Note, Galaxy Note, and you get the Gear VR for free. So yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Keep me up to date on the nursing home visit. I'd like to hear more about that, and because there's been a few other situations where people have taken the Rift to nursing homes and have like people explore and those kinds of things. So that's kind of good too. Okay, so hardware sounds great. You guys haven't had any hardware issues that I can tell.
No, it's been great.
Software sounds like it's rocking on pretty good. That's good. One thing that I want you to be aware of, you may have picked this up the first week when you guys had your Rift, but make sure that when you're in a simulation, to close out when you take your headset off,
Yep.
Because if you take your headset off and you just set it down, it'll still keep the sim running, which means your Oculus Rift is still running.
And it gets hot.
It gets hot, yeah. And now, as far as do I know if it's going to diminish the life of your Rift? I don't know. And these are such brand new devices, no one really knows. But it's probably not a good thing, right? To leave it running
Right.
when it doesn't need to be running. Now, as far as your gigantic computer that you guys have, you guys can leave that thing running 24 hours a day. It's not going to hurt it.
Right.
Okay. It's actually better, technically speaking, to leave them running than it is to turn them off and turn them back on again all the time.
It is.
Yeah.
I tell my students that with all the computers.
Yeah, just leave them running. It's not going to hurt anything. The newer machines, they drop their power consumption down way low when they're not being used. This kind of stuff. So you're in good shape there. The Rifts, though, on the other hand, I'm going to err on the side of just if it's not running, let's just leave it off kind of thing. So that's what I do with my Rift. I just leave it off.
I turn mine off too.
Off is just closing it down, whatever you were in.
Yeah, so I leave my Rifts plugged in, but if you like flip it open, you can see there's an amber light on. That means that that's connected, but it's not running. If the white light is on inside the Rift, then you know that it's running. Okay, so that's.
Where do you go to change the setup? The little part that goes with Oculus where it scans your height and everything, because now we're having to face a different, moving it around so much, face it in a different direction. Where's the setting to reset to start again?
That's
Before we did height on that.
That's a great question. Let me look and see, because I actually have a machine that's identical to yours right now in my office.
Cool.
So.
I haven't had to reset anything.
I haven't either.
I've had 40 kids on it,
Right.
Of various sizes. So if anything, you can adjust the angle of the sensor.
Mm-hmm.
That will adapt to whatever their perspective is.
Yeah.
So if they're shorter, you can point it down a little bit. That'll raise their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all we've had to do.
When you think you're facing forward and you put the Oculus on, well, it's behind you. You've got to turn your body, or beside you, so it's not really the height or anything like that.
That's
it's
weird.
more of that little
I see.
you see in the library. It's somewhere else, which is no big deal. You don't really have to face a computer. It's just the kids want to be like, okay, wait a minute, I should be here. So
Right. Yeah.
it's where this thing has been moved around so much.
Let's see here. I'm looking at mine. Well, I have to reset mine up because I'm logged in under their account. What I would do, it's in the. Well, I mean, I don't want to go through the setup right now with you guys on the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine within the Oculus software that there's a settings that you can go in and recalibrate it. That's the verbiage you're looking for, is recalibration. Yeah.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, you can. Well, if you create a new login, it makes you set up your Rift again too. So I can get back with you on that, Amy, as far as how you get into it directly. Because I'm looking at mine right now. I just realized I'm actually using a different login now than I did before. And when you set up a different login, you have to set up a different account. So I don't want to go through that right now.
Just to chime in with you, is if you start like an application with it on the table, like facing you, and then you got the headset and have a student put it on, then it's going to start from wherever that orientation was. So like if it started and you're looking at the headset, then that front orientation will be facing backwards. But if you put it on first and then start the application, the perspective should be correct. It should be facing forward.
I'll see if that's what we're doing.
It will self-adjust. I mean, it will adjust itself.
Yeah, it should self-adjust. If you're getting to a situation where it's not, so you want to have the Rift like Matt said. If you want to have the Rift in front of it, and then when you put it on, you want to put it on so it's facing the sensor, right?
Right.
If you're still getting an issue where the perspective is off, then you'll want to go into the software and rerun it. But it should. The way it works is that your actual Rift itself, I can just show you kind of right here. This part of the Rift right here has IR sensors that are blasting out IR, and that's what that receiver is actually receiving it. So it's just looking for that IR as it's moving around. If you have it set like this, which is backwards, and then you put it and then you turn it on, then it's like everybody was saying, it's going to think it's backwards. But if you turn it around and actually put on the headset like this, it'll be fine. If it's still not working though, if the perspective is still off, then you want to get into the software and make some adjustments there.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, too, as far as the height goes, when you go and you set up your count, set like I'm 6 foot or I'm 5'11" or whatever, that all can be. You just adjust the little camera.
I think I just found it under settings. There we
under
go.
Settings. Yeah.
And then there's devices and
Yeah.
sensor, and there's reset default view,
Yep.
and there's 5'6" or whatever.
Right. And again, you can always adjust that little IR sensor too.
Yeah.
The camera. We actually have ours in our vision lab on campus. We actually have ours hanging from the ceiling, so we can move it up and down on a microphone stand for people of different heights. So yeah. So it's real.
Most of the applications too. Usually it's the select button on the controller will reset the perspective. So, for some reason, if you start a game sitting somewhere, but then you shift and you end up and you notice that you're off perspective, usually if you push select, then it'll reset your perspective as dead center.
Yeah.
And that's usually per app, app to app. So they may not.
Right.
I've seen a lot of them do.
Yeah, and you also your Oculus controller. I think it has the. I think it's probably if it's going to do it, the Oculus controller will have the option as opposed to the Xbox controller.
I haven't tried it.
Yeah, because like Matt said, it depends
I
on.
haven't tried that either. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the app creator if they actually put that function in. So.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so hardware sounds good. Software sounds good. Internet issues. It sounds like you guys haven't had any issues, which is great. One of the things I mentioned before during your summer, but just be careful about your Rift headsets. They're small and they can walk off quite easily. Of course, you guys know your students. You know them, but you just want to be careful because those types of things do walk off.
And it's another reason that I was grateful that I had an extra room that has glass, front on it, glass doors and everything that I can actually. There's multiple reasons for it. You can set it up; it makes it feel much more special, and they're much more. But also, I can lock that stuff up, and it's just not out there all the time. So it's like I know who's in there. So
Sandy's
yeah.
Foot and a half away from them.
What's that?
I said Sandy has seen it, but I've got mine a foot and a half behind me, right.
Yeah, yours is right. You're right on top of yours. I don't have any way to be right on top of mine in my classroom all the time because I have multiple rooms.
Right.
But I do have that one great space that's got a big counter on it and everything, and it'll be a perfect lab. I think it'll just give it a little more ability to be in there with, and kids will want to work harder to get in there to do that as time goes on. So.
Yeah. The first group of teachers, the first session, they were saying the same thing. They had it behind them, and they had students access it through that way.
Right.
We actually have a lab here on campus that has 5 of the exact same machines that you guys have in our lab, and we have a security camera in there, and actually caught some of the janitorial custodians playing with the equipment. So yeah, I mean, you just have to be careful about that kind of stuff and just kind of be cautious of it, because those headsets can walk away pretty easily. And unfortunately, somebody who would take the headset would probably not be able to realize that their machine at home couldn't run it.
Right.
So yeah, it's harder to walk off with that beast of a computer that you guys have. It's a little easier to walk off with the headset. So yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear everything's going okay. Our next convening will be in October. That'll be October 3rd. Same type of format. It'll be a 6 p.m. and a 7 p.m. Thing. I'll do a doodle poll again, so you guys can sign up. That seemed to work pretty well this time around. You guys have any suggestions on making it easier to get in?
No, it's great. I love it. It's easy.
Okay. All right. So doodle poll works for everybody. Amy, what were you saying?
I said once I finally did it, and my phone was ringing when you and I were trying to work on it earlier.
Yeah.
My phone kept ringing. It's like all I have to do is answer my phone. So.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, if you have Gmail on any of your stuff, I have when someone calls me, I feel 8 devices start ringing at once. there's a way of turning that off. I just forget to turn it off. So yeah.
Let me ask you this. I have contacted my homeowner's insurance to put. I was going to maybe put some extra insurance on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's because if I do take it from school to home to the nursing home back to school, and I guess there was the gray area of it was the schools, or so I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, or do we? So I'm thinking, yeah, the school will cover it, but I didn't know if you've ever considered that on any of the things that you have going back and forth from school.
Right. So the way grants work, this equipment is yours.
Okay.
It'll be yours at the end of this grant session in January and in December.
I like that.
Yeah, it's yours to do whatever you want to with it. Now, with that being said, do school systems take ownership of it? They do. I've worked with schools where they say, okay, if it's on my network, it's my device, kind of thing, which is well within their right. If they have their network, anything that's on their network, they can choose to let it on there or take it off, right? So that's something you'll just have to kind of work out with your school system. But the way
school has not done that.
Okay,
Insurance was just maybe wanting. I guess I need some kind of paperwork or something. I got the serial number, of course.
Right.
But
yeah, there's no note that I want to send back with you guys that says it's your device. But the way I wrote the grant, I wrote it that it's your hardware.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be your hardware to do with what you want to after the grant cycle's over. But like I said, some school systems say you plug it in our network, it's our device.
Right.
So that's something you have to work out with your school system. But yeah, this is technically your device, your hardware. You're responsible for it, which also means too that the school system may not be willing to do tech support with it because of that too. So again, if they're gonna support it, then they're gonna want it, kind of thing. So and that's just something you're gonna have to work out with your school system. But as far as like an ownership note, no, I don't have anything like that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, as far as the extra insurance goes, I wouldn't necessarily worry about the extra insurance on the machine or the Rift, either one. What I would do is I would make sure you power it off, of course, before you move it. And when you carry it like you would carry a pizza box. Don't carry it up and down. Carry it flat, okay? Because the motherboard is actually running across the bottom. And the only time that things actually happen is when things like jiggle loose. So carry it like a pizza box. It's actually easier to carry it that way, and then set it up. But these things are pretty rugged.
I was thinking.
Yeah, theft. Yeah, but even then, I don't know how insurance works as far as like actually recurring the cost of the actual device itself. So yeah, I don't know. I'm always, I don't know I don't know what your insurance, how good it is or whatever, so you just gotta be aware of that. So yeah. Now, are you gonna be leaving this in the nursing home?
No. No.
Okay. Yeah. Now, adding it, you could add it to your homeowner's insurance. But I don't know that I would get extra insurance on it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we were just discussing, adding it to homeowners.
Yeah, just add it to homeowners. Yeah, and that's just going to increase it. Yeah, that's what I would do. I wouldn't purchase additional insurance for this device.
Okay.
Yeah, because unfortunately, in 3 years, the computer's going to be so much faster.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that is the thing about technology. You know, it just changes so rapidly. So
it gets faster and cheaper.
Yeah, it does, or smaller and.
Yeah, I just watched the Intel Summit last week, and Intel's releasing a prototype for a completely head-mounted virtual reality unit. So there's no computer connection at all. It's all head-mounted.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I can imagine things probably going to weigh a ton because it's going to have to have the battery on it. It's going to have a processor on it. Things going to get hot because I've got Google Glass.
Oh yeah.
Google Glass gets hot when you wear it.
Does it?
Yes, on your
face.
face.
Oh, wow. I was curious about that because that always intrigued me.
Yeah, because Google Glass has the battery and the processor all within the unit. It gets hot. Yeah. So yeah, I can just imagine with that VR headset, it's going to be like a microwave sitting on your head. So it's going to be like when you go to the beauty parlor and they got like that thing that comes down over your head.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what you're going to be wearing. Yeah.
Well, there's It's all been great. I mean, the kids are excited. I think our administrator, Leanne, or not Leanne, but Misty Lingerfeld's excited about it, but I don't think she quite understands it all. So
That's
Yeah.
pretty common. Yeah,
yeah,
administration loves it, have no clue what it is.
have no clue what it is and have no clue what we're going to do with it, and so that's up to us to educate them, obviously. But
Yes.
the funny thing was, and I know she'd mentioned it too, probably Matt and myself, was how cool would this be if we could create things and everybody, that all the parents come in could watch it. And we were trying to explain to her, how many headsets do you want to buy, and,
Right.
and how many systems, because we only have the one. So
Right.
it's it's just kind of, it's fun, and it'll be interesting to see them working out any plans for the future if they want to
Right.
continue something like that.
Right.
And there's
Absolutely.
no way to put 2 headsets on one computer, is there?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
All right.
For one thing, you wouldn't have enough ports.
Huh.
Now, technically speaking, you could do it if you had enough ports. If you had another video card, if you wanted to run another video card, you could technically do it. You would have to have the IR sensors facing away from each other. And I don't know if software-wise if it could run 2 instances at the same time.
Right.
If you just had it against the viewer, but I guess
Yeah.
either way.
No. So what we're doing in our lab is I have a TV that it's mirroring too. So like in our lab we've got 5 machines, and I mirror all of those images onto a big screen TV, so I can view it that way. But as far as having another rift, no, I can just kind of peek in and see what you guys are looking at.
Right.
You could do that. Yeah, you could do that with Reflector. It's a app. It's not an expensive app, but it's I think it's maybe 10 or 12 bucks. But what it does is it uses like it's like Apple AirPlay or whatever it is, Apple's thing, and you can mirror your computer monitor onto a projector. So you could mirror what your screen is showing to like a projector or something like that.
That'd be awesome.
So
They
students in
wouldn't
class
get
can
the
see.
they wouldn't get the full effect, but it would still be, they could still see the idea of everything. And
Yeah, you would be able to see what the students are seeing.
oh,
Right?
okay,
But you
right,
would get the full effect.
right. That's
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's an option there. Reflector. It's a relatively inexpensive program, but it would work. It works really, really well, and I use it all the time.
14, and you can try it.
Yeah. You get to try it for free for like 15 days or something like that, but something crazy. But yeah, it's super cheap. The program I'm using is like almost $1,000 to mirror all of them at one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, for what you guys would need, this Reflector would be perfectly fine. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm glad this is working out for you guys. I'm so happy there's no hardware issues. I'm so happy there's no software issues. So we'll have another convening in October, on October 3rd, and that'll be our final convening. Have you guys been paid?
Yes.
The
I got my
initial
check.
and yes.
So you got the $500.
Yes.
Good. Okay, perfect. I've got your names written down, and I will go ahead and send this off, and then you'll be the same kind of concept. You'll get $50 come in.
Did you
for
take
this.
a screenshot?
I did. Actually, I did take a screenshot. I'm video. This is live on YouTube.
You're okay.
So
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So
Because I
we're-
noticed I couldn't do some of the things I was doing the other night with my son. It wouldn't let me into some of the other things.
Yeah, so this is actually recorded live on YouTube. So what I'll do is I will send this link to this because it saves it online on my
Nice.
account. I'll send this link as verification to the state because the state is very particular about virtual convenings. They want to make sure that you actually participated.
Right.
So this is how I can prove it by seeing your face, interacting with you, engaging you, that kind of stuff. Like I said in the email. So yeah, so
Gotcha.
I'll send this in, and you'll get your checks. All right.
See?
I can't tell you when you're going to get them, but you'll get them. So,
It's okay.
and then once,
When do you want to lesson plans?
that's a good question. Did we set up a date for that or no?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
The
the
lesson
question.
plan submission.
I don't remember.
I think it was December. It was sometime like right before break.
Yeah, we had
For
talked
us.
about. Yeah, we had talked about that. Let me jump into UCRSI real quick and see. I think I wrote it
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to that for a while, but I think it was sometime in middle December
Hmm.
because we had all discussed it and thought, oh man, there's no way we can have all of that stuff ready for you.
Right. And again, I don't want to. I'm not trying to set you guys up to fail, and I'm not trying to set you guys up to do something that's beyond the actual pace of your course.
Right.
That's the last thing I want to do. So I think
No,
that's all.
but I also want to. I also personally just want to give you really good lessons because I think that out of all of this, that's the kind of stuff that you can take back and then figure out other teachers may be able to utilize them and add to them, which is good.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. I'm looking here. Collections, projects, VR unit plan. Let's see the date on here. I'll have to look back through my notes and see.
I started to say it may be in my written notes, but I don't have those in front of me right now.
Yeah.
But I remember.
Yeah, I know we said a date. I just don't remember the date.
It was in December, but I don't remember. We're also unpacking the standards now.
Okay.
You probably know all about that. So.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of the things that we'll all be working more on this semester too. So while we're in there, we can just throw the standards in and start addressing some of the things in lessons for this.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I'm looking here. It says project information. As a participant of the grant, you'll need to complete a team model unit by October 15th, but that's not right.
No, that was the first one I remember you gave us, and everybody was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
What? So then I think you said something about it was like middle December. Matt, do you remember middle December, or do you not remember?
I think. Let me check with David to make sure with my and go back to my notes, but I'm pretty sure it's I think it's December 15th is what we.
Somewhere around in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I'll follow up with you guys. I'll send an email out and follow up with you, and I'll update it on the UCRSI site.
Awesome.
All right. Well, you guys have a good evening. Thank you so much for doing this and spending your time with me. I know time is valuable with your family. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. And I will
appreciate the
Thank
whole
you. Oh yeah.
experience.
Yes.
Everything.
Well, I'm happy to help. So I will send out. Tiffany Anderson just said that her headset broke. She has been listening to us.
Oh.
Yeah. So whenever I say something, she can also she's chatting. Yeah. So she's hearing what we're saying. Yeah. Yeah. She's chatting here within the message box. So
cool.
But she said her headset broke, which is terrible. Okay, so like I said, I'll send you that updated information, and again, thank you so much, and you guys have a great evening.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.